Palantir continues to move on all fronts, most recently on the government side of their business. Shyam Sankar and Alex Karp, with one of the articles that he wrote, pointedly talking about a massive $22 billion contract that was won by Microsoft a few years ago. And maybe it's actually a quiet way of fighting for it the way it reads. Now, both recently released some new opinion pieces, which Shyam's yesterday called Rebooting the American Industrial Base, Software and the Future of Manufacturing, as well as Alex Karp's co-authored article just released on the Washington Post, Why American Tech Companies Need to Help Build AI Weaponry. Now, they're both quite long reads, but the TLDR first for Shyam's article is his and Palantir's perspective on the industrial base and where the United States globally today, with a significant portion doing historical trends and comparisons to China. Essentially, it comes down to the U.S. needs to step it up in investment, talent, as well as DoD procurement to continue evolving to pull the right levers of motivation for these commercial enterprises. And that's, of course, to help serve the needs of the nation, not only economically, but also defense and security-wise. China, even if not at the height of its manufacturing, is still a powerhouse when it comes to this and the global enterprise that they've made, especially in the drone industry, which we all know is increasingly more vital on the battlefield today, but also the logistics ends of being able to just ship things around and trade with the world, which just as easily translates to geopolitical power. So take a chance to read when you can. And also a quick side note too, Shyam will be speaking at the Reindustrialize event that's actually taking place today on June 25th and then to June 26th. So we'll see if we get any speaking videos or information out from that. And that makes sense since this is completely related to his article right now, Modernizing the U.S. Industrial Base. Then we have Alex Karp's article on a bit more at an internal look at ourselves in the US on subject of general defense ecosystem and its relationship with tech. The biggest highlights, of course, are still that tech needs to continue serving the needs of national security and defense, or at least trend a bit better for balance from where it stands today, instead of completely taking talent and capital away from serving this. And he brings up numerous examples like the most prominent Project Maven dropped by Google that they won, after being protested by some of those employees and engineers. But notes, Google leadership did try to actually convince their workforce to keep the business, like saying it's only for non-lethal procedures, but we know how that all ended up. But also here, the massive $480 million augmented reality deal for Microsoft that was also highly protested by their employees, as well as OpenAI's struggle with employees protesting against their government work. And for the context back to that Microsoft deal, they actually won the potential of up to almost $22 billion over 10 years after that $480 million trial, essentially. And that's to serve augmented reality headsets, and of course, I believe that's the software too. And we know Palantir has been deeply trying to break into this augmented reality space governmentally as well as commercially too with the latest AIPCon, and that's showing their mixed reality software off. Now, I don't know if he just used this example because it's relevant to his opinion, but to ensure he put that example of this definitely isn't a coincidence that it was widely publicized that Microsoft essentially failed to produce a finalized production version for that $22 billion contract and was instead refused their initial award and made to do another trial version for $40 million. Now, this, of course, would be a massive investment for both the government and the company producing this, considering not only the software aspect, but also the hardware side, which we know Palantir doesn't have any strengths in. I wouldn't expect them to either. So just speculation on my end, but every little bit if Palantir can convince the government to get some level of this project under their belt and get maybe a tiny piece of that potential $22 billion, or if they can provide it at a much cheaper rate, still something in the billions. But maybe this could convince someone to take a chance on them, but that remains to be seen. So both articles still clearly related, nothing new narrative-wise on where Palantir stands, and no doubt more articles like this will continue to pop up from leadership, and we've seen this many times before. As an investor, I just see it as a way for them to continue marketing to their target audience that can possibly resonate with their messaging, as well as continue to convince folks or even those who produce some level of awareness in the public that might slowly sway how the government, especially the DoD, handles procurement and try to put these issues at a higher priority to maintain defense of the United States, which also wouldn't be bad for Palantir's business, as you can see from the amount of money in these contracts. But what are your thoughts below? And I'll see you in the next video.